Look, I gave you a sense of how I grew up. I'm the least interested person in entitlement. I believe entitlement leads to anxiety and depression. I think entitlement is poison. However, there are way too many business owners in this room that deploy very quick entitlement on their employees based on age discrimination without factoring in the opportunities that 24-year-olds have to make money today. Just because you worked for $9 an hour at Safeway doesn't mean they should when they know how to make $30,000 a year making TikToks. I understand what you would like the kids to do for your business, but that is not the reality of the world. Until business owners wake up to the options that the internet has created and start really thinking about how they manage, not to be soft and fluffy. I hated Gen Zer as much as everybody else, but I also hate boomers because I know 40,000 boomers that are lazy as fuck. This is not a generational thing. This is a human by human thing. The difference is when I was growing up in the game, if I had the options to make money that the internet now provides for me when I was 11 years old, fuck graduating college, I wouldn't have graduated middle school. We can't fight reality. There's way too many people in this space, because I watch it a little bit. I can't speak to anybody here individually other than I saw some of the people hashtag this event and I looked at their accounts and paid attention to how much they're posting, and you really aren't posting. We can't fight reality. We can't fight the reality of where our customer's attention is. I understand that you've done direct mail and you're comfortable with it and you don't know how to run Facebook ads. It doesn't change the fact that Facebook ads perfectly destroy direct mail perfectly every day of the week. I understand you're comfortable with it, but it doesn't mean it's the truth. I understand you worked hard and grinded and you expect everybody to do that, but your whole I walked 10 miles and 13 inches of snow shit doesn't mean anything. We have to reverse engineer the reality of the market. That doesn't mean be soft. We have businesses to run. As a matter of fact, I'll go the other way. The amount of people that have labor in their stores every day and there's nothing going on should be required. I mean, if I could control every business here, I would have every person in our stores that has downtime producing TikToks and Instagram and YouTube instead of standing there waiting for somebody to come in. That's a for instance, right? This doesn't have to be hard. This has to be a reframe of thinking. When you hear 15 a day, it gets real scary. When you know that you have unlimited employees just hanging around waiting for people to fucking come into the store, all of a sudden, you get real excited about, we could do 40 a day if I get Carl and Sally to do some shit. And all of a sudden, you're not pissed that they're on the phone DMing trying to hook up tonight. You're pumped that they're on the phone making some content to drive your fucking business. "2023 is not 2015, it's not 2009, it's definitely not 2000, and looking around, it's definitely not 1994. We have to adapt, mentally. The problem is the mainstream media and social media are doing a phenomenal job of talking about negativity and what's wrong. Just so everybody knows, fear sells. Most of the parents in this room use fear to control what they want their kids to do. It's how humans are wired. The problem for me is I got lucky in the DNA game and I have greatest mom in the world and a lot of great circumstances that made me the reverse. I look at everything I just talked about, like if I'm sitting in this crowd listening to this, I'm pumped. I want to run through a wall and like take everyone's money. If you tweak your perspective on how the world's operating, and instead of buying into the propaganda for control of your mind, you look at the optimism that these tools can create for you. If all of a sudden you look at your employees like your teammates, literally, I'm so affected by this. If you look at your employees, I have 2,000 employees at VaynerMedia alone. I genuinely think I work for them. I swear on my children's health. I work for them. Of course you do. If you're a great leader and you want to build something meaningful, you work for them. I was raised by a dad who taught me the reverse. That's why I know the difference. And I used to be mad at my dad, but then I got kind of like a little bit older and realized my dad grew up in the Soviet Union, where the country controlled everything and the employees stole everything. The whole country ran on the black market. Literally, this is the first, I'm so pumped I mentioned it earlier. So it's my birthday and I'm going to the liquor store and I'm super sad. No, it's not my birthday today. I'm going back to the story. But it was my birthday a couple of weeks ago, so if you want to clap it up, I'll take it. So it's my fucking 14th birthday, I'm driving to the liquor store. As you may be able to tell by the way I'm talking, I talk all the time. My dad does not talk. We're completely the opposite. We live 45 minutes from the liquor store because my dad wanted to have land because he likes cows and pigs and shit. So we're 45 minutes from the liquor store, driving on Route 78 in New Jersey to the liquor store. My dad says no words. I'm talking a mile a minute, like, I'm coming in, Dad, and like, wait till you see what I got. I'm gonna sell every bottle of wine. Like, I'm like hyped. Even, you know, like I didn't realize I was gonna get paid $2 an hour at this point. We pull up to the store after 45 minutes. He says not one word. He turns to me and he goes, keep an eye on the employees. They like to steal. That's what my dad taught me. I grew up in that environment. I grew up in an environment where I watched an owner be in conflict with his employees. And then I've run businesses for 25 years where I've done the reverse. I'm an investor in over 500 companies and watch closely. I'm on tons of boards. I'm watching, this is my passion. If you cannot deploy empathy and compassion for your employees, I once said something to my dad, he brought it up this weekend actually. I said, Dad, if everybody who worked for you was you, they wouldn't work for you. I tell a lot of my friends who struggle with their employees, I'm like, I had a buddy who's like, I just want them to work as hard as me. I'm like, then give them equity in the business, equal to you. We have to reframe this conversation. You have to make it enjoyable and interesting, not because you're soft, but because you want to make money. I'm not asking you to be nice and reverse engineer them and be compassionate because I'm Mother Teresa. I'm telling you because I want you to build what you want professionally. You're out of options. Yes, tons of people are about to get fired. Tons. You do not have a great resignation on your hand next year. You will have more overqualified people apply for your business next year than you have in the last 10 years. That's good. But if you don't change the culture in every one of your stores, it's not gonna mean anything. It's gonna be a short-term blip and it's not gonna mean anything. You'll have no retention. The second those highly qualified people can get a different job to pay more, they're out. And more importantly, while you've got those qualified people, they can, if you have a good culture, they're gonna affect the kids who might be your future managers. And so I highly recommend you get off of your high horse on this issue. We are combative with our employees. And again, I'm talking in generalization, but this is very common. And I just think we have to rethink it. You're not being soft. You're not over-pandering. You're not conforming to Gen Z ways. You're not eating a fucking blue pill or red pill. You're not doing that shit. You're just trying to run a business. And I'm telling you right now, the amount of 18 to 22-year-olds who are wildly aware that they can make the same amount of money just making TikToks and making ads, or going to thrift stores and flipping shit, or doing Amazon Prime drop shipping, or a million other, they're not lazy, they have options. And we have to accept that, and I highly recommend you take a step back on this issue, because between marketing and management, if you really dial this and look at it slightly different, it can have a tremendous impact on your business, a tremendous impact. This has always been a question I've always been scared of. And over the last 7 or 8 years, it's gotten a hair easier. There's two ways I think about self-awareness. One is incredibly personal, and the other one requires others. One, I actually think that almost everyone actually knows the truth about themselves, but have built up so much posturing that it becomes their subconscious and they can't even tell the difference. So I talk a lot about with my friends and family and people I care about and groups like this, just really go there in a dark room by yourself, and just really go there and be like, no, Gary's right. I'm just gonna do this because I think this is gonna make me happier. And just actually put pen to paper on the shit that you're full of shit about. And I really, like, even just watching you all like move right now on screen, all of you can probably come up with one thing that you say and act on that you know is not true. So that's big, John, right? That's big. The second one is kind of cool, which is like, how do you get 3 to 4 people that know you the best, right? And you spend some time with them prepping them. Like you have a dinner, you hang out once, and you basically build them towards this day, a couple weeks out, where you ask them to really call it like it is from their perspective. What are you good at? What are you bad at? What do you do that fucks them up, but they've never been able to tell you because you love them, they love you? And you kind of make these 3 to 10 people feel really safe to really tell you. And you know that it's true. The thing that worked for me is I don't lie to myself. I don't want to trick myself. You know what I mean, John? Like, people posture, bro. Like, and this goes back to loving yourself over others. I think the biggest reason people posture is because they value other people's opinions too much.
No facts.
You know what I mean, my man? Like, I'm just not really worried about if someone thinks I'm cool or good looking or smart or clever. Like, I'm just not there. Like, of course I'd like to be liked, but it's like, and I'm normally very liked by anybody that knows me. You know, I know that you guys and gals have people in your life that don't like me. That's because they watched one video once out of context and take a hot take. They don't really know me like that. And so, like, right, like it's just really being honest with yourself and putting the people that are closest to you into a framework of being honest with you. And then you start working on it. Let me give you an insight at this young of an age that might really hit for some of you. Let me tell you why there's no value in posturing or faking the funk. It's because you can trick the 98% and the 2% is who you actually want. And the 2% are the ones that are turned off by your bullshit. You're just tricking people that are trickable.
Gary, my grandfather, he taught me, you can't shit a shitter. That was his line. So it's
you know what?
Totally that.
You know what? Couldn't have said it better to you. Like, because nobody has ever tricked me ever in my entire life. Nobody has tricked me ever. I know that there are other, well, what am I, one of one? Definitely not. And so I say to myself, then why would I do that and lose equity with the people that are most talented just to trick the ones that are trickable? Because when you're tricking trickable people, somebody else might trick them onto you.
Mm. That's what I was about to ask, like in terms of like, I think you got to it earlier, but like the losses and games that come from that, from tricking trickable people, but also not tricking, like not bullshitting like a bullshitter.
It's just the same thing, right? Like for you guys, you're so close to this given your age. Like think about all the people you tried to be friends with in high school because they were cool or good looking. And then like now just 7 years, 5 years, 6 years removed from it, you're like, what the fuck? You have no interest in those people. It's just that keeps going on past high school. So I tend not to overthink at all. I'm very intuitive, and most of my business mistakes have been to act too quickly and then have to bail out. I have found that speed trumps everything. And so for me, when I weigh opportunity costs, I'd rather start something, both money and time, if I intuitively feel it, and then let it fail 6 months or a year later. New concepts I have for Vayner, new divisions, new types of wines for Wine Library, things I've done for my own brand. And I want to push so many of you for this. I really want to push a lot of you. So many of you are not taking action because you overthink it. You overthink it. You overthink it. I always say deploy your resources that you can afford to lose. A lot of you don't have the dollars. I used to not have the dollars, but I had my time. The reason I punted my 20s was because I didn't have money, or I didn't have a lot of it. You know, a lot of you hear about the $3 million business. I love when people like try to rag on me and say, oh, if everybody had $3 million business. I mean, every single kid that gets $500,000 in startup, which was millions, had more dollar resources than I had. We didn't have dollars. Business did $3 million. It made $300,000 in profit in selling $3 million worth of liquor, and then it still had to pay expenses. And my dad took home his salary. Like, we had no money. But I had my time, and I would test things, and I stayed up. I didn't punt my 20s for kicks and giggles. I punted them because the only resource I had was my time. And so I had to work 18 hours a day because it's what I had. Got it? So taking action is, especially if it doesn't cost you money and it's just time, is always a better answer than pondering or thinking or trying to decide if this is gonna work. You don't know. The learning of the failure is as equal to the victory of it. Right? The learning, the things I've learned in my 20 years, the reason I'm so advanced as a business person in my own mind is not only have I worked a lot, but I've, this work hard, work smart thing, I've worked smart. And one of the smartest things I do as an entrepreneur and a business person is I do things so I can understand whether they work or not. You can't just sit here and say, is this gonna work or not? Debate it your whole life, never do it, and then not know the answer. Like, you don't know. Like, one of two great things happened. One, you did it and it worked, and you made money and you won and you got accolades and it worked. Wine Library TV, it worked. The Wine Library, the classes that I was gonna do, or I'm trying to think of things that fail. It's like, so another thing is I just forget them so quickly. I'll work on this. You know what, India? I wanna do like top 11 things I did at Wine Library that didn't work. Local van delivery at scale I never did. So one of two things happen. Either it works and you make money, the email service, it worked. Or it doesn't and you're like, well, I'm not gonna do that again. But this whole indecisiveness when you can do it. If you don't have the money, you can't do it, so what the f are you thinking about it for? I wonder if I buy a building in New York City, will it go up in value? I wonder. The answer is, it's gonna work, but guess what? I don't have $400 million liquid to buy a f***ing Empire State Building type building, because you can't even buy that for 400,000. You need 400 million. So this is an interesting question. The answer is no. I've never failed because of indecisiveness. I've only failed because I've done stuff, but I'd argue that I didn't really fail. I learned. I might have micro failed, but I macro won. And people are really good at talking about all the bad things that social media has done without realizing all that social media is empty vessels that expose us. And so, I don't believe one person on earth became a racist because of Facebook. I think Facebook exposed that they were a racist. And so, I don't know. I think social media has exposed me to be a better person than people thought, because I am a better person. So I think this is a game of exposing, not a game of changing. And so until we realize we have a lot of work to do on the parenting front and on the education front, and humans are audacious. We need way more humility. Way more humility. I love watching all of you come into Vayner and thinking you actually know something about social media because you've been using it for your teenage years. That has nothing. Using social media to hook up or watch some shit that you like has nothing to do with using it to sell shit.
One thing you think a lot of entrepreneurs or leaders need to hear, gut checks that they need to hear in order to be successful over the next decade?
That if you're looking for outside validation based on your net worth, your blue check mark, or how many followers you have, you're ultimately vulnerable for the game that we're actually playing, which is, do you enjoy your life? And you need to really look at that, because it really plays out. It is only sustainable for so long to play an optics game for other people to think you're successful. It is the number one thing entrepreneurs need to hear. I reference this a lot, and I know a lot of people here, because I see some faces are close to my content. I reference a very obscure part of the cinematic classic Rocky IV. And in Rocky IV, which is the one where he fights Drago, the Russian at the end talks about this thing. They fight, Rocky wins, the crowd, and Drago grabs the mic and he goes, look, All of you in this Russian crowd, you thought it was Russia versus America in this ring. I was fighting for myself in here, fuck you. And that's how I think about my business. I'm so appreciative of the love, the admiration, but my inability to hear that is why I'm able to deal with the negative pushback, that I'm a this, that I'm a that, and it makes it very quiet for me, and then I get to play my game. I think the biggest thing that people need to hear is you will always lose if you're doing it for them. Always. It's just not sustainable in the end. And I want people to be happier. Like, it matters. Like, your quality of like mental happiness matters. And I think people think money closes the gap on it. And I actually think, much like social media, it exposes it. I think if you're unhappy, money will expose it and make it more unhappy. It will not close the gap. And so doing it for yourself, which is so awesome. I assume a lot of you in this room and on video probably know the thing I know, which is, holy crap, business is my favorite hobby. Like, I would much rather do a business meeting than golf. It's not even close. I would much rather have a business problem that I have to solve than go skiing or take a trip to a vineyard. I just enjoy it. Literally the only thing in my life that gives me the same kind of like feeling is not even going to a Jets game, because that is actually escapism. That is like my church. That like caring so much about something that in theory you shouldn't care about actually helps everything work for me. It's actually garage sailing. This is real. This is how I know I'm in a very sick place of like loving my thing. The only thing in the world that gets my chemicals going the same way every day does running businesses is waking up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday with like a 33, garage sale, town-wide garage sale. And it's still just business. It's finding something for 40 cents that I know is $8, or something that's $8. And so that's when I knew right, I found my true love. And honestly, I think for a lot of you in this room and on video, debating how much you may love business and you may love being an entrepreneur, but do you love the thing you're doing? Because if you don't, having the humility to take a step backwards financially, to reset and do something you like more, is something that I'm trying to talk a lot about more, because I've seen it. I've seen it ironically, not because the person usually had enough humility to pull it off. It's because they were forced to, because shit went bad, and they're like, oh my God, I wish this did this 12 years ago. This is so much more fun. I like this thing. Trying to find something you love, it really works. And so, I don't know, I'm really hopeful that people, I'm blown away by how status, money, follow count, blue check marks, Mercedes-Benz's, Rolexes, like private plane. I don't think because I was in my own cocoon for so long, I don't think I understood how much people needed outside affirmation to be a Band-Aid for their emotional instabilities or insecurities that they were parented with or things of that nature. And I come with such gratitude that I didn't stumble into that, but then almost a level, to be very frank, almost a level of guilt that I didn't stumble into that. And so grateful. It's like this very weird kissing cousin of like guilt and gratitude that makes me desperately want to communicate it on the platform that I have of like, I don't know how many very, 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 very wealthy people you know, but a shocking amount of them are not super pumped, not super happy, not living the dream, and so it's not going to be money. So, figure it out. I'm very concerned that so many people are looking to become entrepreneurs. I think entrepreneurship has become the new university. And I think this may sound very weird because entrepreneurship is my great love and has been so good to me, but I want for you what happened to me, which was in the face of entrepreneurship not being cool and school being the only way out, I was lucky enough to have a mother and lucky enough to have DNA that had conviction for me to go against the grain. First, for everybody here, you have to, hopefully because of this talk, have to go home and really ask yourself, do you have the stomach for entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is very, very difficult. It's a lot of judgment. I'm watching people right now take their company out of business in a year because they don't want to deal with closing it now, but it's already over. You know, they worry about judgment. They're not willing to go backwards. They're not willing to sell their fancy office and start back at a zero place. They'd rather go out of business because of judgment. So first, you have to challenge yourself. Are you truly a number one? Because I see a lot of kids right now who are actually incredible and have so much talent, but really their makeup is more to be a number 3 or number 6 or number 2. Because number 1 is always, always, always on. You're not an entrepreneur, you're a firefighter. You're always ready for the alarm to go off. And it's very, very daunting if it's not your natural DNA. As far as personal brand, I think that the great secret to personal brand is speaking your truth. I think the biggest mistake I see today is everybody's trying to figure out what's working. I see a lot of people who are very conservative try to be bombastic on video because I'm bombastic on video, you know? And for me, what worked was in 2009 when I was bombastic on video, it was unacceptable to not wear a suit. It was unacceptable to curse. It was unacceptable to act the way I was acting, and much of the business world pushed against me. Then Facebook won, a movie was made, everybody wore a hoodie, it became more casual, it got younger, it changed. But I don't think I would have anywhere close to the success I have if I wasn't always myself. And what's important about always being yourself is it's easy. Meaning, I watch people and they're playing somebody on camera or on Instagram, and you have to think when you're not yourself. You have to try to remember what you said. You have to live life in a different way, you know? And so, 100% you, even though it might not seem that that's the right thing to do. 2, producing content at contextual scale. You have to be everywhere to the best of your ability. Everybody always says, easy for you now, Gary. You have D-Rock, you have a team. I'm like, yes, but from 2006 to 2014, I did not. I did everything myself. It took time, you know, and so patience. You know, most people give up because they have 49 followers and they're like, you know. It took me I did Wine Library TV for 2-3 years before it even got going. Every day, 5 days a week. So, that's what stands out for me.
Do you think entrepreneurship is something which can be taught?
I think entrepreneurship can be taught, but I think entrepreneurship can be taught the way basketball and football can be taught. It's a talent. So for me, it was a talent, and I practiced since I was 5, and at 44, I can really do it. I can start practicing and being taught how to sing tomorrow. My intuition is that I'm not gonna become Beyonce. So I do think it can be taught, but I think the upside is predicated a little bit on talent. And so that's why I speak a lot about entrepreneurship that is building businesses that are not $1 billion. To me, what's great about entrepreneurship is the ability to have a business that does $300,000 for you a year and you're happy, instead of a job that does $120,000 and you're unhappy. Or even more extreme for me is entrepreneurship's amazing because you could have a business, a sugar business, you know, that does $100,000 for you personally after it's all said and done, and you're happy because you love sugar for some reason, versus being a lawyer for $180,000 and being unhappy, and then you just have to live your life based on $100,000. So for me, it's happiness and self-awareness. That's why entrepreneurship's so interesting. The problem is, right now, when people hear entrepreneurship, they hear build $1 billion company. So we're not talking about entrepreneurship in a practical way, we're talking it in a Hollywood way. I think the great thing about entrepreneurship is it's the most likely way for one to be happy if they're self-aware and live within their means. I'm gonna throw a weird one, which is also not fun to say, but could lead to so much more happiness. I believe there's a lot of people watching or in this room right now that shouldn't be number ones. That are like in between a 1 and a 2, and like don't have the stomach or like the leadership to really be a true number 1 entrepreneur. I know that's a weird thing to say, and I don't say it as a negative. I just see so many people that are playing a number 2 role, making way more money and loving life so much more after they stop trying to be a number 1 for the optics of it or the ideology of it. So that's very much on my mind as well. The reason I've been able to win is because when bad things happen, I'm in my most calm. This is something I want to talk about because you just brought up something, because I love your spirit, Ali, and I just listened to you carefully. And when you said, I have my moments, and with my intuitive chemicals, I go, right, she and many other nice people have those moments because it's the high intense moment, right? Like something bad happens. My dad did this quite a bit, and my dad's on the other side of this. He would get stressed and it would formulate in a tornado of everyone around him. Yeah. And I became very visceral to it. I think I naturally would have been this, but I think my dad's reverse style to me, where I saw the carnage of anxiety manifesting in bad behavior to communication to the people around them. Yeah. I think I became even a more extreme version of what I probably would have naturally been had I not been in my dad's business and watched it. Because I became visceral.
You were the yin and the yang, yeah.
I was the yang. I was like, fuck that, I hate this. Dad, you're not being nice. Yeah. It really bothered me.
Be diplomatic,
But I realized over time, years later, as I got older, I'm like, oh, my dad was scared. I'm not scared. Why am I not scared? Oh, weird. I actually don't care about money. Oh, weird. I actually don't care about nice things. I don't need shit. I don't need a car. I don't need a Rolex. I don't care what fucking anybody thinks about what house or apartment I have. Oh, I have the shitty apartment. Oh, I have the not as good car. Oh, I don't, like somebody else flies private, I fly commercially. I don't give a fuck you. What? My life has not, what are you? And so once I started understanding, I'm like, oh, right. I'm in business. People get most anxious when their money could be affected. Go out of business, make less money, lost money. I always reacted by being the bigger man. That was the time when I could be the biggest mentor to my people. They just did something bad. We lost money. They think I'm gonna kill them. I walk in and I love them. Oh my God, now we're family. Yeah. And that has been my foundation. That's why people stay with me for such a long time. That's why I have so much continuity in my company that don't usually have continuity. Liquor stores, agencies, these are turn and burns. And I have 7s, 9s, 12s because of how I treat them.
Yeah, gosh, it's so
and
interesting.
That's because when COVID, let's go really real. This is very difficult to say because COVID was so devastating. COVID comes and there's that like 4th day in when you're like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I like that right?
This is real.
I'm like, ooh.
This is not just the news.
Yeah, this is not only not the news, this is not gonna be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember that? When I heard the first day, 2 weeks, I'm like, fuck. When I was 4 days in, I'm like, oh, this could be a while. And then about a month in, you're like, oh, this could be the rest of the year. And it's more than that. Now we're into April the next year. Anyway, nonetheless, I remember having this huge sense of calm as my CFO started telling me the carnage of all the phone calls from our clients saying they're gonna need an extra 100 days, 200 days, 150 days to pay, how overextended we are, where we are in this, where we are on that, leases, and then the kicker, we're getting nothing because we fall in the middle. And so we're getting no government support. When I tell you that sword through my chest landed in the following way, literally, I remember it like 4 seconds ago. I was in my parents' house. I've been talking a lot about being a wartime general and being the captain during rough seas. This is gonna be fun. This is it. And I fucking drilled it. I will for many, I don't think the time of like how well you navigated the business during COVID, I don't think it's the right time to talk about that with how much pain there still is. But in 12 years, in 9 years, I'll absolutely talk about details because I'll feel, we'll be more removed. It'll just be the way wounds work. And there'll be a lot of lessons to share and I've been prepared for it my whole life. Because I'm a wartime general. I tell my managers and my leaders, and this is the number one thing I think about. People are like, oh, Gary, why are you so upset with me? This is only the first time I've acted like this to my team. I'm like, John, it's the first time there was any pressure. You've been here for 6 months. It's been fucking smooth sailing. The second there was a fire, it flamed instead of took out. You're the leader. 2 too many people are peacetime generals. Everyone's a hero. BJ Armstrong's really good at basketball when he has Michael Jordan with him. What about when it's hard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about all the time. I think about, because I've got a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old, like celebrating the shit out of when they do something that's beautiful. Because of the stories you've told about when you'd hold the door open and your mom would go nuts. I really think about that.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you for even knowing that story. Thank you for picking up on that. And it is my number one.
Yep.
Reinforce. Going 4 for 4 in a baseball game is fun to cheer.
Yep.
Being drop dead cute in your outfit when you're 11 years old is nice. But make sure that the majority of the cheering is around things that look like you were nice to that person that's in their knee. My son showed
it's such good advice.
It's good, right? Out like when my son shows a lot of empathetic, things. When he like goes and hugs a kid who had a bad this happened. Hug the kid who had a bad day at baseball. I mean, I basically am treating him like he won the Nobel Peace Prize. Let me get into something that is a real concern of mine, and back to where Garyvee does a good job. And where Gary Vaynerchuk is doing a much better job with VaynerX the last 3 years versus 6 years ago. If we do not celebrate accountability, our kids will be disasters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So praise the bully thing, but when they are in this excuse life, or when they're complaining about the machine, and the answer isn't, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
We have allowed an entire culture of people to be in the excuse and dwelling, and everything is some macro government, parents, society, business.
Blame
it's
game.
this
Something else.
It is everything else but
Everything
themselves. Now, here's an important thing to hear. It might be true.
Well,
Stick with me here. I want to finish this thought.
yeah.
There might be incredible validity to one's point. Because
Sure.
it's a both game. You could be right that you were born on the wrong side of tracks. You could be right that America's doing this. You could be right that Coca-Cola is doing that.
Yes.
A big thing that happens next is now what? So for example, I analyze shit.
So what, now what?
Right. So it's yes, and now what? So no, that's awesome. Yeah. So we're on the same track. Like to me, I'm like, you're right. Now what? Because the thing that scares me is we have gotten to a place because of the way humans communicate in society where, for example, parents blame social media for their kids being insecure, not the fact that they're not parenting their kid.
Right.
Right? We've gotten to a place where somebody feels that if they send out a tweet, they've done something about something.
Yes.
Or that if they tear somebody else down and they noble shame them, but they don't realize the hypocrisy because they're doing something else that is like, we are in a delusional state of non-accountability.
Yes.
Please world, please hear us right now. God, tap into this phone line right now, please. We are making a mistake around accountability. 8th place trophies have destroyed half.
Yes, I was just thinking trophies. You read my mind. I was like, where did it change that like every kid gets a fucking trophy if they didn't win? Like, I'm like, that is not, I'm like, I don't want to play in that league, you know?
Sports helped us so much.
Yes.
I cried from 8 to 16. I cried once a week because I lost in something. It is the foundation of my happiness.
I swear, it's like I just said in an interview for the first time, and I don't think I ever said this publicly, but like I, in high school, tried out for cheerleading every year, and I wanted it so fucking bad. I just had this idea. I wanted to be a cheerleader. I loved the outfit. I loved the
status.
It was the status, and I never fucking made it. I tried out every year, and I never made it. And I never like talked about it, but it crushed me, and it made me feel like shitty, like I wasn't good enough for years. But probably really helped me.
It's awesome because it's real life. In real life, when you're 31, your mommy's not coming over and buying you a pony because you didn't make the cheerleading team. like I don't understand what people.
Stupid.
Guys, we have an entire generation of mid-20s to early 30-year-olds whose parents are paying for their lives still.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's bad. It's bad because then those parents are in control. Then when the kids and parents are having discussions and the kid's 27 and they want to do something, the parent has the money hanging over it. Nobody says it in the argument, but everybody knows the score, which is if you don't listen to your mommy and daddy, they're gonna pull the
I'm not
cash,
doing this.
and you
Good job.
and then you can't have the BMW and the Equinox membership. It's all this bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all this bull fucking shit.
Never ever seen someone get a rock star reception like you just had. Is that something you get used to?
It's something that you never get used to, and you always, I can't speak for others, but I always felt was maybe there, you know?
In you want to say?
Yeah, I feel like somewhere deep down I always felt there was some sort of version of this in my destiny. It didn't manifest the way I thought. I didn't know the internet was gonna happen. I didn't know it would happen in this, I thought it would be more on a pedestal for my business accomplishments. You could only see how the Bill Gateses and the Rockefellers and it wasn't this cool. Business people are cool, entrepreneurs are cool now. So it's taken a little bit more young fandom than I anticipated, but deep down I always felt like I was gifted something that over the course of my life it would manifest. I knew that I knew people liked me because I liked them more. That has really played out for me.
And was it always an idea to do that in business, or?
Yes, since I was 13, I knew I was going to be a business. Even before that. But yes, I always knew I was a businessman.
Hawking the baseball cards and
lemonade, like my whole life. I did nothing else. Not school, not theater, not music, I was interested in nothing but being a businessman. Purebred, like purebred, like a purebred entrepreneur. But I also was the same kid that was really nice to the most disliked nerd kid in my school and the most popular. I always got along with everybody, and I think that's playing out in social media. A lot of different types of people can appreciate my message, my attitude.
If I can go back
please.
to the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, Wine Library TV
Yes.
now seems like a genius move.
Yes.
Well, I can imagine that back in the day it was
The stupidest thing. YouTube was only less than a year old. Why was I wasting my time on it? I was building the business. Why am I spending an hour making a show and then 4, 5, 10, 11 hours interacting with people in the comments? I'm supposed to be running a business. I just built this big business. What are you doing? It wasn't that I knew how everything would play out, but I knew that it was right. I knew that people were gonna pay attention. I knew that the attention would go there. And I didn't know that I would be such a showman. I didn't know I could do this. But when I realized I could, very quickly, I said, okay, this is really interesting. Being funny in class is one thing. Being able to do it on a world stage and on camera is another thing. But it happened, and I'm like, okay, I don't have any entertainers or those kind of people in my family, so it never crossed my mind. But when I realized I had a little something, and then it became addicting. It builds on itself. That feeling makes me want to try harder to have more of that feeling, and it becomes a hamster wheel.
You had a lot of love for what you did with Wine Library TV, but you also had your fair amount of hate. How do you explain that? It's something
meaning
like
what people?
Yeah, that people look down upon. When you said you were dumbing down on the wine.
Yeah, that's very true. The wine industry did not like it at first. When you're a pioneer, you have to be willing to take a lot of heat. The people that invent the future are the ones who have the self-confidence and the humility and the ego and the intestinal fortitude to deal with the pushback of the market.
It's something that has manifested throughout your career, I think I can say. In Belgium we have a saying, I don't know if it's in English, the high trees catch the most wind. Is that what has been seen?
I love it.
Is that maybe what we see?
And that will be until I die.
Yeah?
I will always innovate. I have too much confidence to worry about what other people think. All the upside is being a pioneer. I want to be the highest tree with the heaviest wind.
Is it maybe also fair to say that you move around in a sector that has too much bullshit?
I think everything has bullshit. I feel like the sectors that I just happened to jump into were the sectors I jumped into. But finance, healthcare, education, politics, the auto industry, they all have it. Because humans manifest bullshit. Humans create bullshit and politics to protect their short-term interest.
But how do you, as a client, separate the wheat from the chaff?
You try, and sometimes
you swing and miss.
You swing and miss, and sometimes you hit 3 home runs. I think that's the talent of a client. I surely don't struggle with it when I'm a client. Use intuition, you're not, like I told him, you're not scared to fire if you pick the wrong thing. You just move.
My question is, when you are setting up a startup, this is a pricing question. Would you go strictly trying to compete? Would you, how do you get that, startup number if you're offering services or a product? Just go trying to be cheaper with the competition. If you have a better product, what's your thought on that?
Yes. Do you understand?
Yeah, completely. I got it.
All of it. All of it, my friend. Like, everybody always asks me, Gary, I'm just starting out and I've got nothing and no business. Should I this and should I that, or should I do this? And the answer is yes, my man. If you are building a business that you want to build and you want to support your life and family and have all the riches that entrepreneurship requires, well then you need to spend 18 hours a day. Is it a good idea to have a better product? Yes. Is it a good idea to have a service at a lower price than your competitors to give the person that is actually financially conscious the ability to go with you? Yes. Is it better for you to cold call 97 people versus 6? Yes. Is it better for you to produce great content that reaches people through virality that is better than your competition so they know about your service? Yes. Is it better to hit up your grandfather because he's friends with this guy who's got a business in the space that you're trying to reach? Yes. Is it better to put your phone number on Instagram Live to get on the Ask Garyvee show to get an answer? Yes.
Everything goes. It's just like in lobbying war, everything goes.
Let me give you a really good piece of advice and we're gonna end it on this. Never say no for the other guy. It's the best thing I ever told AJ. Don't make a decision for the other side of the table of why they're gonna say no. Just do everything and then let them say yes to the thing that they like.
That's the answer I was looking for. Thank you so much.
And by the way, my friend, when you pitch people, mix it up. Sometimes come in with a lower price. Sometimes come in with bravado. Sometimes come in with humility. When you actually try to get to 97 people and you get 17 meetings, you actually get the chance to try 17 different moves. If you're like 99% of people and overthink everything and have one meeting a month and one at bat, you don't get the chances to try the different shit that might actually unlock what the real answer was.
So you chop that strategy all the time to get just better results and stay with that.
In life, if you have 97 chances and 11 people say yes, that's the game. Everybody's trying to play a game of, I'm gonna get 3 chances and get 3 people to say yes, and then 3 people say no, and they cripple like a bunch of bitches.
Yeah.
Got it?
Is that competition
Yeah.
something that drives you as well?
The most. It's the part that, being so competitive, unfortunately, is my gift and my curse. It's my gift because it's helped me so much. It's my curse because it's the North Star that manifests the ego and the bravado that for some people is a turnoff. But I know that I'm coming from the good place. I want to beat these 2 guys, but I don't want them to fail. I just want to be better. I just want to be better. And I think a lot of people want people to fail and they're not very good. And by killing everybody else, if they're the only ones left, well, you've got me. To me, I want everybody to play. I just want to rise above everyone.
In your speech or in the Q&A section, you talked a bit about your investments. You said that, if you are involved from the beginning and you're involved organically and you build the business yourself.
If I'm the operator, it's a home run.
Yeah, but you also have quite a track record in investing in something that you don't have.
What I refer to as the middle. So when I'm the operator, it's a home run. When I've invested and have nothing to do with the business, I've done extremely well. Home runs, Facebook, Twitter. It's the middle. When it's kind of my business and I'm kind of supposed to be involved, but I'm not the decision maker, that was funky for me in 2009 to 13. Now I've done it better. I had a company called Brave Consulting Firm. They just sold to Turner. Win. I was involved that way. I've got a company called Resi, a restaurant open table competitor. It's doing extremely well. I learned a lot.
From failing.
And made promises up front that were different, used my time and my strategies more effectively. I've learned from failing.